First of all, congratulations on your buyback. You also raised your dividend target. What are you most worried about for 2018?
Good morning, and thank you for those kind words. When we look at into 18, I guess it's fair to say that interest rates is one of the big unknowns in terms of the speed of change we'll see, and we are also cognizant of the fact that some of our Nordic markets have seen very rapid price increases in the property markets for a number of years, and we're seeing a bit of a smaller correction both in Norway and Sweden, and obviously that's something we're monitoring very closely. So I would say we're very vigilant around, especially property markets. If I had to single out one area, but it's something we should be very vigilant around. But also on the other hand, we're very comfortable with our positioning.
Yes, so sir, talk to me a little bit about what do you see in the world that's making you so confident you can raise the dividend? So you've raised the dividend policy was higher than what you previously announced. Does it mean that you're a lot more confident about the growth worldwide?
Well, when we look at the Danske Bank story, I guess we also have to look a little bit internally here, not just at the outside world. And we've been building a lot of capital for a number of years, and we are in a very strong capital position. That's also why we're doing both the 10 kroner dividend and the 10 billion buyback. So returning 93% of our earnings from 17, which is obviously a relatively high payout ratio in the context of what we're seeing elsewhere. But raising the dividend guidance for us is a natural step with reflecting the strong capital position we have, and also giving us more flexibility in the future on dividends. So we try to find a balanced approach to all stakeholders, and obviously raising the dividend policy shows some confidence in our earnings generation. That's clear.
What's your I guess, how confident are you about your 2018 outlook? Last year, you raised twice your full-year outlook. Is 2018 going to be even better?
Well, we're obviously confident in our outlook. Otherwise, we wouldn't give it. But it's the 18 to 20 billion. We think that's a fair reflection going into the year. We also note that consensus is also around that range, in the high end of that range. We think it reflects on balance the momentum of the business that we've seen in 2017. We're seeing a continued good customer activity expected here in 2018. Our core economies are doing well. We're obviously a Nordic bank with some exposures outside of the Nordic region. So generally, we're seeing a good macroeconomic environment, and that obviously feeds through to the way we guide as well. But with those small question marks around where do property markets go and where do rates go, etc. But generally, it's quite a confident mood, obviously exuded in that guidance. But it's early days in the year.
How confident are you about Basel III and the impact on your bank? It's been agreed, it still hasn't been implemented in European rules, but what kind of impact are you expecting?
Well, Basel is one of the big unknowns. I clearly agree to that. When we look at the process from here, we're looking at an EU process that would last for a couple of years, probably until 2021. And then a phasing in that will then last until 2027. So we're looking a number of years out here with a final proposal that will probably be modified quite a lot in the EU process. Given the excess capital position we have, which is more than 500 basis points at this stage, we're quite confident that we can deal with any scenario that Basel ends up with, while still finding a good balance between with the shareholders as well. So. Quite confident in that. We are a very well-capitalized bank, and you see part of having that strong buffer is also making us very comfortable around Basel.
Funding markets, sir, have been quite good for the banks during the past couple of months. What does that mean for Danske, and is the trend sustainable?
Well, funding markets are strong. They've been strong for a while, as you point out. We fund at levels that are, let's just be clear, are historically low. That's not just the Danske situation. That is obviously generally a European banking situation. We continue to fund ourselves as necessary at these levels, and also obviously constantly looking as to whether we need to pre-fund some issues, etc., to take advantage of the strong markets. But our funding needs are also not what they have been in previous years, as we are actually seeing very strong deposit growth as well, which you will see from our numbers. So for us, it's finding that mix of good local currency funding, both in the deposit markets but also in the covered bond markets. So it has been a tailwind for us, like other banks in previous years. We're now at a level where you can say it's becoming less of a tailwind.
When you look at your statement, I know you talk about digitalization and the fact that this creates more opportunities. Talk to me about the job shifts. Will it create more jobs, different jobs, or will you cut jobs and it just gives you a new opportunity for customers?
It's a good question. We're not very absolute around what happens to the number of people working for Danske in the future, because we do believe that in the end, it's all about the right capabilities. And what you're seeing at the moment is you're seeing a major shift. As an example, we hired almost 3,000 new people last year. A lot of that is digital and IT skills being added to the bank. So I think you're seeing quite a big shift in workforce with more digital, more customer experience skills, customer journey experiences, etc., coming in, and some of the more traditional banking experiences may be coming out. So there's a shift in the workforce in the coming years, as we have seen in previous years as well. So for me, the absolute FTE number we worry less about, and it's more around getting the right composition of the workforce.
Very quickly, are you involved in Bitcoin? Will you be involved in Bitcoin?
No, we are not involved in Bitcoin as such, and we know some banks have given an outright ban around Bitcoin. We are advising our employees to refrain from it, but Danske as such is not involved in Bitcoin, no.